Hey everybody, welcome to Street Science TV. Make sure you hit the like button, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell just in case I go live or drop a video. You will be notified. Well, word on the street is that Al B. Sure is finally confirming that the book that was put out that contained entries from Kim Porter's diary are based on truth, guys, and we've been waiting to hear more about this, and finally it's coming out. Kim Porter's ex, Al B. Sure, insists she did keep a diary and was planning to blow the lid off Sean Diddy Combs' warped sex life before her suspicious death at age 47. Kim Porter kept a diary and was planning to expose Sean Diddy Combs' perverted sex life before her suspicious passing, according to the model's ex, Al B. Sure. RadarOnline.com revealed the rapper 56 had made the explosive claims in a new documentary called Diddy, Making of a Bad Boy, due to stream next week on Peacock. This week coming up, guys. Al B. Sure, whose real name is Albert Brown, claimed Porter's 2018 passing was suspicious because she had enough material to bring the music mogul down. He also acknowledged in the documentary how furious he is at Diddy for stealing Porter from him, even though they were friends who both worked at the hip-hop label Uptown Records. Al B. Sure, who shares a son, Quincy, with Porter, who Diddy later adopted, said, "There's an OG rule. If you're my brother and between you and your wife something happens, she's off limits." But Diddy, who was dating somebody else at the time, ignored that. And when Porter was in the studio with her baby Quincy, he came up to her and made a strange comment. He looked over and saw this really beautiful girl, and she was holding this really beautiful baby, and he said, "Hey man, I wish I had a beautiful girl like that," Al B. Sure claimed. Diddy allegedly made an aggressive play for Porter and won her over with lavish vacations and a millionaire lifestyle. Al B. Sure said that he was being portrayed as an absent father and suggested it was Diddy's publicists who planted the stories against him. Welling up with tears, he called the claims propaganda and alleged Diddy didn't even formally adopt Quincy as his own. "There's no adoption, none," said Sure. "There's no letter to my father. All was crafted by a publicist. If you hadn't noticed, his name is still Brown." Puffy wasn't too happy about anyone who had a relationship with Kimberly, but Porter, according to Sure, tried to protect him. He explained, "Kimberly said, 'Don't get involved. You will get KILLED.' Not only was she trying to save me, but she was putting her own life in danger." But Porter did keep on talking to Sure, and they remained friends. He said in the film, "She began to confide in me. She said something's not right. His soul, Diddy's, has gone completely dark, like he's just not there. She made me promise on her son's life not to ever reveal anything because she was in complete fear for my life. What I do know is that before her passing, she was keeping a diary. Someone got the passcode to her phone and computer and found out what she was writing and what was going on behind closed doors." A 60-page book called Kim's Lost Words, which purported to be a collection of Porter's diary, was published in September, 6 days before Diddy was indicted. In it, Porter allegedly recounted discovering and making copies of tapes Diddy made of himself having sex with young boys he was managing, including a tape involving an 18-year-old pop star who went on to be a household name, and we all know who it is, but I'll give the initials, JB. The final entry of the memoir has Porter falling fatefully ill, dramatically texting her friends, "He got me," and then calling 911. An attorney for the Combs family, as well as Porter's 4 children, said the alleged memoir was fake, and anyone claiming to have a manuscript is misrepresenting themselves. In the documentary, I'll Be Sure suggested Porter was taken out and said that she was going to do what another of Diddy's exes, Cassie Ventura, did with her lawsuit and blow the lid off of his entire situation. Diddy has consistently denied any involvement in Porter's passing, which nobody believes. Everybody thinks he had something to do with it, especially in light of all of these allegations that have been coming forth from these lawsuits that people have against him. But not only is that going on, guys, they're also talking about, in the rumor mill, Sean Diddy Combs' mother. In which case, I had come across a video not too long ago where Dapper Dan, the famous fashion designer from Harlem, he grew up with Diddy's parents, and he said that those freak-offs been going on before Diddy was even thought of, and that he thought that it began prior to them even being born. The plot continues to thicken for hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs, who was arrested back in 2024 on charges including sex trafficking and racketeering. After an unsuccessful attempt by his legal team to release him on bail, Diddy now remains in jail until his trial, which is set to begin in May 2025. However, in an up-and-coming documentary, one former friend of Diddy's claims that his mother also threw parties with SEX/UAL activity in Diddy's childhood home. Shortly after Diddy's arrest, it came out that his popular white parties from the early 2000s were often met with an inappropriate after-party. People alleged that Diddy's teams would go around seeking out women, some of whom were allegedly minors, and invite them to an after-party that would essentially become one big orgy. The details are slowly trickling out, but Rolling Stone recently reported that in a new Peacock documentary, one of Diddy's old friends revealed something startling about his mother, Janice Combs. Now, I was already hearing she was a sex worker. In Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, Tim Dog Patterson revealed something interesting about Diddy's youth, saying his mother would often throw parties where people would be caught doing intimate acts. That's what we were privy to. This is what we were fed, Patterson says, per Rolling Stone. Was it desensitizing us? I'm sure it was. Were we aware of it? No. That was just Saturday night. The allegations are interesting because they paint a picture of what life might have been like for Diddy, who could have been exposed to these acts from a young age. Although we don't know the ins and outs of Diddy's childhood, Suge Knight, who is a producer and longtime rival of Diddy's, hinted that part of the reason Diddy allegedly abused others is because he dealt with it when he was coming up in the industry. Speaking to Chris Cuomo on News Nation, Knight said Diddy was taught to abuse from people before him, and he did it to the younger people after him. This has been going on in the industry for a whole bunch of years, for decades, and at the same time, nobody wanted it to be true, and it shouldn't have to be true, Knight continued. Much of it is still speculation, as nobody has the whole story around what Diddy's life growing up was like or what he dealt with behind closed doors. Diddy's trial is set to begin this spring.
The whole Puff Daddy situation that's going on right now.
Okay. I want you to listen to this carefully. I grew up with Puff Daddy's parents. So, we all come from home, born here, raised here. No matter what happens in the culture, it didn't just start. No matter what happens in the culture, it didn't just start. A lot of things that you see happen came about from not even from my generation, but the generation that became before me. It's just that. A lot of the things that's happening today because of social media, everybody gets to know about it.
Now, in the video I just showed you, Dapper Dan saying that he grew up with them, and that is true. This been going on. Now, also, you have to remember when Ray Charles was talking about Aretha Franklin's father, what was going on in his church. He said in the daytime it was a church, and after church was over, they had orgies in the church, men on men, women on women. So these type of things have been going on. It's just that in the age of technology and the internet and social media, it's hard to keep things secret, and everything's being revealed. But you guys let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and I promise to try my best again to stay consistent, because I am totally devoted into building up this channel again. And thanks for watching my video. Peace and love.